It's Drewski McGillicuddy's Midsommar Spoilerish Movie Review. Hey everybody, it's Drewski McGillicuddy, and I brought the secretary with me because there's this movie, right? And it's like so divisive among moviegoers. I watched Cody Leach's review. Actually, let's start back at the beginning. I thoroughly enjoyed Hereditary. So when I saw the trailer for this whenever I saw the trailer for this, I was like, ooh, Ari Aster's making another scary movie. Sign me up. And then Chris Stuckman came out with his, I think it was a B- he gave it, and he was talking about how it seemed like the director was jerking himself off, and then Cody Leach kind of said the same thing, and then Sean Chandler kind of said the same thing, and I'm like, oh God, no, man, I really wanted to see this movie. And then I get a message from, or Devon Graham tells me, or hey, is that Devon Graham? Whatever you want to call him, says, hey man, I'll up my Patreon if you go see Midsommar and review it right away. So it's like, okay. But in the meantime, with that going on, the director of the personnel at the Dent Schoolhouse had also said, Andrew Becker, I'm going to need you to review this movie because this is a review I would watch in its entirety. Now, Sean Chandler had said, if you are one of those people that do like this movie, don't go around telling people that didn't like it, they just didn't get it. Well, I didn't listen, and I went ahead and did that anyway. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you people, don't be like me and go harass Cody Leach and telling him he didn't get it just because he didn't like it. Okay? But anyway, let's talk about it. Did you get it? Did you like it?
I did. I got it and I liked it.
Because, yeah, I mean, like everybody else said, this movie, it doesn't follow a formula. It's not like a Hollywood movie. It's a A24 movie. So you should know going in, kind of, that you're going to be in for something different. And that's exactly what I went in expecting, was something different. And, the trailer does kind of give away the whole movie. It doesn't come right out and show you, DC trailers or, other big budget trailers that want to give away the whole third act in the 2 minutes that they had to show you the trailer. But this trailer just showed you a bunch of flashes of stuff going on. And then you got the sense that, oh God, if I was there, I would know that I'm not supposed to fucking be there and that I gotta get the fuck up out of there. Mm-hmm. But how do you get the fuck up out of there? And we'll get to that.
Yes.
So we meet Danny, and you want to take this to explain, her situation? She's going through a situation. This is probably going to be a spoiler review, everybody, because there's a lot to say about this movie, and I ain't got time to make 2 videos. But anyway, Danny's going through some shit. She gets a crazy email from her sister, and she's freaking out. She's trying to call her boyfriend, and you can tell, she even brings it up to her friend when she's talking about how the whole time she was talking to her boyfriend, he wasn't really very comforting. He was just like, I don't know.
Well, back it up.
Back it up.
Because she's first trying to call her parents.
Oh, yeah.
And gets their answering machine because there's a bizarre email that her sister sent her. And her sister is bipolar. So her sister sends attention-getting emails when she's off of her meds. And basically Danny has to go and coddle her and bring her back into reality. And so, yeah, Christian is basically saying to her when she finally calls him that, oh, this is just her doing this again for attention. And every time that you allow her to do this, then you're playing into it.
But to speed it up a little bit, when she's talking to her friend later, talking about the conversation she had with Christian on the phone, she says that she could tell in his voice that he wasn't really there. Or so, I don't know how the hell she put it. It's been a while since I've seen it. A couple hours ago I saw the movie. But I felt what she was talking about listening to the conversation on the phone. So that says a lot about the acting, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, and you do get the gist from these, not just from their conversations, but from their actions. You get the gist that they both kind of want to break up, but they really
I don't think that she wants to break up. I think that, she thinks he's the one, and she doesn't want to let go, and she's in denial of the fact that he's on the verge of just not wanting to be together. See, that's the other thing. There's so many layers to this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like an onion.
Well, that's the thing, too. I think, different people will interpret it a little differently just from the
But then something horrific happens, and I missed it because this fucking asshole walks into the fucking movie 10 minutes late with his bright-ass cell phone looking for his fucking seat, and then he proceeds to sit there with his fucking cell phone like, I'm a fucking asshole. Look at me, everybody. I'm here. I'm an asshole. Get used to it. So I says to him, hey, motherfucker, you want to turn that shit the fuck off? Well, I was like, hey, dude, you want to turn that shit off? It's very distracting. He's like, I'm going to turn it down for you, bro. I said, no, you turn it the fuck off or go sit somewhere else. Anyway, that's beside the point.
Say that.
He ruined the movie, or the moment for me, because as soon as I look back at the screen, I'm like, what the fuck is going on now? Like, what's happening? Because, like, it was like a blink and you'll miss it sort of thing, but it was horrific. And maybe I'll keep this spoiler to a minimum, and you won't get to know what I'm talking about until you see the movie.
I don't think it was a blink and you'll miss it moment. You just missed it because you had that guy distracting you. I mean, it basically
just happened, and then I looked up and I saw the aftermath of what had happened, and I'm like,
I don't know that it's necessarily a spoiler. This has to happen for the rest of the movie to happen. It's the reason why they go.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with the telephone pole scene in Hereditary. That's technically a spoiler.
Yeah, but that's halfway through the movie.
Okay, some people had died in a very intricate and fucked up way, and it just had a realness to it that made me want to fucking kind of get up and leave. Very uncomfortable. I don't know. It just, I don't know. And there's a lot of shit like that in this movie that's just, fuck me, dude. And the character Matt, because like, here we go. We're gonna fast forward to later on. He's trying to comfort her, and they go into a party, and he's talking to his buddies about how they're gonna go to Switzerland and all this stuff. And then she's like, oh, what, you were gonna go to Switzerland and you were gonna tell me? Or Sweden? Sweden's in Switzerland. Or Switzerland's in Sweden. One of the two. Anyway, that's beside the point. She confronts him about how he's like, I said I wanted to do this. She's like, you said that you were thinking about doing it. You didn't say you were going to. And they have this little scuffle, because their communication skills aren't that great.
No.
But basically, he wants to kind of cheer her up, and he tells her, oh, yeah, you can come with us. And he goes and tells his friends, like, hey, I invited her, but she's not going to go. Well, guess what? She's going, otherwise
she's
we
gonna
couldn't have
go.
the movie.
She's gonna go.
But there's a scene, do we want to talk about the guy that's taking them? Because that's the thing. I mean, I could understand if, like, you don't like predictable type stuff, because I could tell right away that this guy knew what's going on, and he's taking them there, and...
That's because we've seen Hostel before.
Yeah, we've seen horror movies before, but it's not the... I guess that's what Cody was talking about, kind of a cliche.
Yeah, I am from foreign country. You should come back with me and see my culture.
Oh, yeah. But
yeah,
still,
that guy.
When's the last time we had a movie like this? Like, what, Turistas or something? I think that was I don't remember the last fish out of water, or... It's been a while since we've had this kind of movie, and, like, this does give you the feeling, like, when you're off in this far-off land, what the fuck can you do? But anyway, I do love... First of all, I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning, where it's got the opening credits, and it's, shows, like, it's snowing or something, and then the phone's ringing, and then it slowly gets closer and closer to the neighborhood, and then to the house, and then the phone rings, and then the answering machine picks it up. And then all that fucked up shit happens, and then the music swells, and you get the Midsommar, a film by Ari Aster, A24 presents, all that stuff, and it's just fucking awesome. I just wanted to throw that out there. But now that we're, speaking of cool transitions, they're sitting in the apartment, and she's talking to the guy that's taking them there, and he starts to tell Danny, like, look, I lost my parents in a fire too. So I know what you're going through, and she just...
Well, no, at that point, he just says, I lost my parents when I was younger as well.
And she, reacts as you would if you, like, literally just lost your parents and somebody brought it up the wrong time. She gets up, excuses herself, and as she walks into the bathroom, she ends up in the plain bathroom. I think it's in the trailer, but
it is.
And she's crying, and then they're in Sweden.
Yeah, that was why I had to ask him. Is she like in the plain bathroom now? Because it shows her going into the apartment bathroom, and that's what he said. Transition.
Yeah, but then I love how the beginning of the movie, it is dark, and then it goes to be in this bright, beautiful place.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what kind of ruined the beginning when the guy walked in with a cell phone, because it was pitch black in the theater, and there he is, and it's just like in my peripherals. But we're not here to talk about that. We're not here to talk about...
Too.
Oh, yeah, he kicked the door open or something. I don't know. I should have got up and whooped his ass. But anyway, what were we talking about?
When they're on the plane.
And then they get off the plane, and I love like the character Matt. As somebody was talking about, like the characters or blah. I fucking love the character Matt. Everything this kid's in has been like he's been like I just love him. I love him. He should play the Joker. I'm gonna mention that every time I see this kid. I'm gonna bring up the fact that he should be the one playing the Joker, okay, or someone like the Joker. But anyway, here he is playing this. He's the smart ass of the group, because every fucking thing out of his mouth had me cracking up. Like when he gets there, he's talking about, oh my god, the women here, and then like when they say how long it's gonna be, like his reaction I thought was great, because it would probably be my reaction, because they're like 4 hours, a 4-hour car ride after a probably 14-hour plane ride. I mean, who knows how long the plane ride was? But anyway, we're not here to talk about the logistics,
the length.
So they get to this place. It's the first stop where the guy meets his brother or his best friend. What the hell's this goddamn name? That's the only character I can't remember is the guy that's taking him to the village to begin with. But he meets up with this guy, and they're all taking shrooms. And I want to watch this movie on shrooms. Not that I condone that sort of thing. Ingmar. Anyway, so... first, Danny and Christian have a fight over, should we do it? Well, not really a fight, just a, should I do it or should I wait? It's one of those,
because she says, I want to get my bearings about me. And he's like,
well, bearings straight.
He's like, well, I don't want to do it unless you're going to do it. And then when they tell the other ones, oh, we're going to wait.
But then they decide, we'll just go ahead and do it. We'll just go ahead and do it. And it was great because they're sitting on this hillside and it's beautiful. And like, this is one of the best depictions of what mushrooms actually do that I've seen on film. It's like they gave the camera shrooms and then you saw what happens. Because like the trees breathe. The clouds breathe. Everything's like breathing.
And like the grass is growing up out of her hands.
Yeah,
that was neat.
Yeah. And then she starts to freak out a little bit. But when Matt was freaking out, because he's talking about, what time is it? And he's like, they're like 9 o'clock. He's like, 9 o'clock and it's daylight? What?
That's not right.
And then
the sky's blue. That's not right.
He's like, maybe you should lay down. He's like, I'm gonna lay down. He's like, you should lay down too. This feels amazing. And like,
Josh, lay down.
Been there, done that, and I think maybe Ari Aster has been there, done that too. That's how he knows exactly what. Because I've never seen a movie trip before, and this movie straight up trips.
It does, because that was one thing I brought up to him is.
There's a scene later on in the movie, they take some Kool-Aid. I don't know why you drink some Kool-Aid.
Some part of the screen throughout the entire thing, when they're outside, not when they're on the inside shots, but when they're outside, everything is still like waving. There's
I think you had a context high.
I did not have a context high. No, I think that was one unsettling thing, because, in Hereditary, he used the soundtrack
the other
to keep
thing
you on
is,
edge.
Yeah, the soundtrack in this movie was like some of the best foreboding music I've ever heard. And then sometimes, and you don't really see this too often, the lack of music at times and the use of natural sounds is very jarring and unnerving. And it could rub people the wrong way. And I'm sure it did rub people the wrong way. But you got to think. That's probably what the movie was going for. And if the movie rubbed you the wrong way, it accomplished, its main goal. Because I think that's what Ari Aster is meant to do. Because some of the fucking shit he shows you in his movies, and then some of the shit that he showed you that he feels the need to show you again, just glimpses. It's like, here, you remember that scene that happened earlier? Bam, there it is again, motherfucker.
I enjoy
now, try to go to sleep tonight. Every time you blink, oh, God. Because, yeah, they get to the village. Everything seems normal enough for, like, a Waco. And Matt even brings up, oh, we've gone to Waco or something like that. Or he's like, are we stopping at Waco on our way to where we're going or something?
Yeah.
But,
because Ingmar, he brings 2 people from Europe, from England, because that's what the thing is.
England is in Europe.
Specifically, England. Anyway, once these people get to be college age, they go out in the world, and then they
looking for
bring
people
in
to
friends.
Show their culture to.
Yeah, so apparently,
I hope I haven't spoiled anything.
Pele
yet.
went to America, and Ingmar he
Pele.
went to. Well, it's spelled P-E-L-E. Pele.
Pele. I don't know.
Pele. Anyway, that guy, he went to America, brought these people in, and his buddy brought these other 2 from England, and so they met them, and they were the ones that had the
Anyway,
nice
they
made
get
tea.
to the village, and it's very Wicker Man. Like, if people want to compare this to the Wicker Man, this is basically just a modern telling of the same sort of situation. Because it's kind of
sorta
different religions, but you know they kind of have the same outfit. You know, that Waco, Texas.
Well, I loved when they first got there, and Pele was talking to his uncle or whoever it was that he said that guy was, and they commented that they liked his garb, and he starts talking about how, yes, it's very no sex. It's hermaphrodite. Is that how you say? And that was cracking me up that he was trying to say it was unisex. That like nature.
Yeah, because there is a lot of like, I'm pretty sure it's intentional comedy, but then towards the end, we'll talk about that later. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I don't think that was meant to be funny, but it was.
But yeah, they walk past this tapestry, and I'm sure everybody's going to see the memes that everybody's making and talking about. This movie is basically the Wicker Man with pubic hair or something like that. Because they walk past this tapestry, and the tapestry basically spells out, get the fuck up out of here. Okay? Because they walk past, there's a lady, and then there's a lady showing her vagina, and then there's a lady cutting pubic hair off of her vagina, and then there's a picture of a lady menstruating into a glass of orange juice, and then she bakes a hair pie. And that's what happens in the movie. Spoiler alert. But that's foreshadowing. You see this tapestry, and you're like, oh. And that's probably what Cody Leach is talking about. It's like, oh, you're showing me this. And I don't think they showed it too long. I think they showed it just long enough. But, yeah, it did basically spell out the entire movie. I think the parents that
had the 5 to 10-year-old children probably
thought they showed it too long. Oh, yeah, because Sean Chandler said there was a 5-year-old. Somebody brought a 5-year-old to his screening. Well, we got a whole row of fucking 10-year-olds. Like, it was like 10-year-olds and their mom. I'm like, okay, I can't wait to see what Sean Chandler was talking about, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. Where were we at, though?
Where they're walking past the
tapestry. I mean, that's probably bad enough for children to be like, Dad, what the fuck was that?
What was she doing?
Well,
what
see,
was she
son,
doing there?
Boys have a penis,
and girls have a vagina.
But yeah. Anyway, basically, that was the recipe for love potion number 9. And then she puts like a Woodershin under the dude's bed. Okay, we're moving along.
We're going too far. Because now this is where everybody's starting to learn about the culture, and they're kind of slowly going in.
All right, basically, Josh,
Connie, and Simon are very important. Those are the 2 English people.
Okay, but Josh and Christian are doing a thesis on this place, and they kind of get into a fight because it was kind of Josh's forte. Like, he was already passionate about this stuff, and then it seemed like Christian just wants to run off of his coattails. That's another, like...
Well, Christian even commented earlier before they left America about he asked him what his thesis was going to be, and he was like, I don't even know. And so when they got over there, and he started, going gaga over the culture and stuff, that's when he told Josh that, oh, well, he's decided that this was going to be what his thesis was going to be about. And he wanted to tell him first, because if you want to collaborate with me, that's fine. Otherwise, we can work separate from each other and against each other.
So, yeah, there you go. There's some character drama for you.
There is.
There's character drama all the time. Anyway, the dinner scenes are very cool and intricately shot, and just the way things are formed.
The table is really weird formed.
And then, like, they bring out these elderly people, because, they have the first ritual thing is, like, this dinner, and they bring out these elderly people, because, like, when they first get there, they just do the festivities, and the next day there's this dinner, and I'm going to say it again, they're going to bring out these elderly people, okay, and they sit down, and everybody waits for them to do what, they just stand there, and they're like, what, why are we standing here? And they tell them we're going to stand here until it feels like it's time to sit. And then eventually they sit, and they all sit kind of in unison.
It's kind of like a domino effect.
Yeah, and then they all commence to eating the same way.
Well, yeah, because they can't eat. They just sit there until the two elders pick theirs up.
Because he seemed like I think he picked up his beer and started drinking it before it was time.
He had started to.
That was very rude, and then he does something else later that's very rude. So you go in knowing it's a horror movie, that shit's bound to happen to somebody sooner or later.
Yeah.
But anyway, I really don't necessarily want to spoil it, but we got to talk about just the stuff, man. But anyway, so they finish dinner, and they cart these two old people away, and they all go off to this cliff, and they're watching, and they're all chanting and having a good time. And then these
there's a ritual going on up at the
people,
top.
like, and nobody down here knows what's going on. They're all from America. They're just like, oh yeah.
Except for the two from England.
And the old dude, or no, it was the old lady. She just face dives, and not to spoil anything, but it's some fucking nasty ass shit.
It was nice. I liked it.
Like, my jaw literally dropped. I was like,
I almost clapped. The effects of it was really,
like some
really
shit
neat.
From Irreversible. Like,
kind of, sort of, yeah. Because then when she kind of like peeled up off of the rock she hit, and her face was just kind of split, and it's like, look at that. That was so neat. But the two people, Connie and Simon, they didn't think it was real neat at all.
They reacted probably the same way I probably would have reacted. I would have like, what the fuck is wrong? We're getting the fuck up out of here. And Cody Leach in his review said that this type of stuff didn't happen, so I don't know what he's talking about.
But no, the Americans just stood there kind of going.
And then the old lady explains too, because like then the old guy jumps and he misses.
Well,
he goes straight down and breaks his leg.
he didn't
so
even
they come
try
over and
to swan dive. He
smack him in the head with a hammer 3 or 4 times.
And that one, I just wanted to start cracking up because they come out with this big long hammer.
Head, by the way,
that it looks almost like a meat tenderizer on one end. And the first hit they did, it was just like, and then the second person came over and went, and then the third person, that one looked like crap because it like bounced off of the fake head. You could actually like see it bounce off. So that one didn't please me as much. But the first two were awesome.
But yeah, so.
But it did show his like mangled leg.
That you would, people would be like, "Oh, that's fucked up shit," and then like this old lady comes to explain it to him. This is how we deal with death. Like we give our life so that we don't have to grow old and suffer through, or be a burden or whatever.
They try not to be selfish. They don't live just for themselves.
She tried to make it sound beautiful, even though they just seen some horrific shit. And when you think about it, that's kind of true. I don't want to get old and fucking decrepit.
No, I did like her explanation on that because
why
essentially
is that so wrong?
They were giving their life and their spirit because here's coming more babies. Then they need to make room.
But, there's still some fucked up shit to do in front of a bunch of people, okay? Especially a bunch of people they weren't expecting to see some shit like that. And I thought everybody reacted accordingly. Now, Christians seem to be less affected by it. He was...
Yeah, he was just kind of like,
But he was kind of like, huh? the entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like,
he didn't seem to be connected with where they were like everybody else was, good, bad, or indifferent. He was just kind of like...
he seemed like a selfish
Alright.
douchebag.
Yeah.
Douchebag, yeah. But, and I do agree, he does definitely look like somebody fucked Chris Pratt. I don't know about Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about Seth Rogen, but somebody definitely fucked Chris Pratt, and this kid came out. But, anyway.
Anyway, but they do start building up right away as far as him being a douchebag, because when they first get there, or not when they first get there, like a day or so after they've been there, that's when Pelly comes over to Danny and gives her that little drawing he does of her for her birthday, because, you know, happy birthday. And she brought up, oh, well, Christian forgot. And he's like, oh my, how could he? And she makes an excuse that, oh, I forgot to remind him. If they've been dating for 4 years, some bitch better remember.
Honestly, though, if I had taken shrooms the day before your birthday, I probably wouldn't remember what day it was.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know. That doesn't matter. It's beside the point.
No.
But
no, they start building him up to be a total dick and be a bad guy in everybody's eyes.
Yeah.
Especially Danny's.
But, because he's in right away, when they're doing the festivities and stuff, this girl kicks him while they're doing this little gallop thing.
Kicks Christian.
It kicks Christian and kind of like gives him the, hey, want to fuck eyes? And he's like, well, probably later, you know, call me. And then that's kind of, you know, it leads up to, basically this chick makes him some lemonade and some hair pie, and he eats it and drinks it, and then, you know, has no choice.
She makes him orange
but to fulfill
lemonade.
the prophecy. To fulfill the prophecy.
It's the orange lemonade.
Because I thought, I seriously, like, I kept waiting for this movie to get boring, and it never really did, because I thought the whole thing was interesting.
It went along pretty well. I mean,
now,
it was
sometimes
long, but...
this shit just went a little fucking weird at times, especially, like, the whole, hey, and then, like, just, do we want to continue into the deep spoilers? I don't think we should.
No.
I don't think we're gonna, but yeah, I wanted to tell you some of that stuff, but, like, because, yeah, the people start getting theirs, you know, and we start losing people and stuff. Because, yeah, they want to leave right away, and then once they start wanting to leave,
they only let
can't
them go one at a time because the truck only holds 2 people.
But then, yeah, so it's like comes down to the, because Cody Leach brought up, like, well, I'd be getting the fuck up out of there. Yeah, really? What are you going to do, walk? Because who the fuck's going to take you where you need to go? Who the fuck are you going to trust to do anything or know what the fuck's going on?
You are that
this
far
is one of
away
those,
from civilization.
Yeah, you're fucked. Like, you should have just never went. But if you would have never went, we would have never had this movie.
Because now, whether they were lying or not, they tried to say that it took 90 minutes. No, 45 minutes from there to the nearest train station. Yeah, you're going to go running when you don't know where the hell you are, what direction you're even going
But yeah,
in?
not to spoil the ending, because once we get up to the ending, you find, like, because you should know what the hell's going on. You should know what this is, watching the trailer, going into it. It is basically a retelling of a different religion take on the Wicker Man story. That's what it is. It's the Wicker Man.
But instead of improving their apple crops, they're improving their bun in the oven crops.
Oh yeah, because that's the other that's the shit that Sean Chandler was talking about. There's so much gratuitous full frontal male and female nudity.
Well, the male is just
of all
the
ages.
one male, though.
Well, yeah, it's just one. Well, then you gotta get to see.
Male.
I don't know, because there's just one guy, right? And then somebody's wearing a skin or something. I'm not necessarily sure what's going on in this scene. But it looks like somebody might have chopped his dick off. I don't know.
You don't
It's dark.
see
You can't
his
really see
wiener,
what's
though.
going on.
I mean, so that doesn't make it gratuitous.
But anyway, this scene, and then the other thing is, the thing I thought was weird. It's not necessarily a negative. It's just it was weird. Is when somebody sees something horrific that kind of involved all the nakedness, and they start, So then they all start going, because I guess they're taking their pain away for them.
They're embracing that person and taking their pain from them. Because that's one thing that is brought up a little bit earlier when there's another foreshadowing moment, is that...
My parents died in a fire.
My parents died in a fire, but
was it 90 years ago? Because apparently this only happens every 90 years. I'm starting to think you people have been full of shit this whole time. I think they were
lying. Because, if Pelle's parents died in a fire, a horrific fire, obviously it's, the same...
Plus he explains, if it was every 90 years, because he explains that it's the 0 to 18-year-olds, and then it's the 18 to 36-year-olds, and it's the 36 to 54 years old, and then the spring, summer, winter, or fall, winter, whatever. So it wouldn't make sense for it to be every 90 years.
No, I think that's just something that
if you're some stupid foreigner, you'd probably believe
to make that ritual seem special.
Because it did seem kind of special, but it seemed more of an annual type thing.
But no, when he was telling this person about being essentially orphaned, but he never felt alone because everyone was his family. They never let him feel alone. And so that's what's happening.
Anyway, to make a long story short,
is they're making that person feel like his family.
Slightly long, but I never felt myself to be bored.
No.
I was eager to find out how this story was going to unfold itself around these characters and what would happen to the characters. And what happened to the characters was unique. Like, in some of the gore and the shit, it's just... There's some fucked up shit in this movie. I mean, it's not just thrown at you constantly. Like
it does give you a little time to digest.
There's no
what's getting
jump scares whatsoever. But there's things that this movie shows you. It kind of made me jump
when I saw the Oracle the first time.
That will stick with you a lot, like Hereditary. Now, I didn't find this to be as good as Hereditary.
I don't know. I did. Just maybe it was because I actually had more to think about in this as opposed to Hereditary. And it was brighter. It was prettier. It was very pretty to look at.
But, I don't know. I didn't think the story was as good. Even though there was there a story, or was it just this culture?
No, there was
and the
story.
Movie was revolving around the cult. Well, the culture was the story. Because it was just these people in this place.
Right, because, I mean, you got to know the characters, but you didn't, get to know them in depth. You didn't really care that much.
I don't think
when they started disappearing.
I don't think you were supposed to care for any of these people. Maybe Danny.
Yeah, Danny you were supposed to feel for, and I mean you do. I kind of agree though. Was it?
This movie was more about just.
Was it Cody that said
ritual.
She just constantly? There's too many times where she's going off, dry heaving and crying. I think at some point, yeah, you cared, but it's almost kind of like, okay, really, this again? I kind of did get that after a certain point.
But still, there was no way out. People, let's just be a lesson to you. Don't ever go anywhere. Stay at home, watch movies, learn from those. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I don't have any creative slogan to put on this, but I'm definitely giving it an 8 out of 10.
Oh, I would definitely give it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, there you go. There's an 8. There's a 9.
I think it's because I kind of got it a little more and a little quicker than he did.
I'm stupid.
So, I think that's why I liked it. It gave me a lot to digest and a lot to think about, and I really like movies. I don't care if they're slow burns or that. I like things that make me think, that don't spoon feed everything to me. Because there was a couple of things that were foreshadowed, but I really didn't see the foreshadowing until later because they left enough time in between. But I do like cerebral movies, and I think this certainly was one.
Especially when it's a cerebral type that actually has the visuals to go with it.
Yes.
Because this movie definitely had the visuals. And the gore, like, Jesus Christ. Made the dude from Bone Tomahawk or what in Cell Block, like, made him blush. Like, 'cause this shit looked real. Like the shit in Brawl and stuff kind of looks a bit cartoony, but this shit looked real as hell.
It did. I really, really enjoyed.
And he really liked to keep showing it to you.
I liked it.
And then just hair pie, man.
Hair pie.
So make sure you like the video if you've liked what you've seen here. Also, subscribe to the channel and be sure to let us know whether you liked this movie, whether you hated this movie, whether you think I'm an asshole or you think Cody Leach is an asshole. Devon Graham's probably an asshole. We're all a bunch of assholes watching movies. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Bye, everybody.
Bye.